Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for your Model Railway. In today's lesson, I'm going to continue to work in the underframe department under here. I'm looking to do the primary equipment, which is in the middle here. So again, we're looking at things here that are really, really complicated, and we're going to just try our best to try and make something that looks, a reasonable representation of it. I'm not going to sit and draw, everything to the exact size scale. So jumping into Fusion, the first thing I want to do is create a new component. I don't know exactly what this is called or how it would work, but I'm just going to call it as wheeled underframe detail. It's probably not its right now. It's probably got its own specific name, but for now that'll do to be able to identify what we're looking at here. Okay, so if we look at the pictures now, we've obviously got two pairs of equipment here which look pretty much identical and symmetrical on both sides. So what I'm thinking of doing is obviously only drawing just the one half of one side and then half of that again. So just sort of doing this bit and then mirroring that across there, creating something behind it that it'll sit on, mirror that across to the other side, and then we can copy that body and have two bodies and just create another body then for this area. So although it looks like it'll be really difficult to do those two parts, we just do one of them. It'll all sort of come together quite quickly and easily, I hope. So I'm going to start by just drawing. Let's start by drawing this wheel here. You can see now it's just offset from the middle here. So I'm going to come back into Fusion. I'm going to create, within this folder, I'm going to create an offset plane. I'm going to use the front surface of this wheel, because obviously wheels are going to be the same sort of size and dimensions. I'm going to create that offset plane from there, so we can start on that in this sort of area. So we'll create a sketch on that plane. I'm going to just move across to the middle. Okay, let's look at, we'll be using a circle. I'm just going to create, I don't know, maybe a 2mm circle. How's that look compared to this one? Inspect this circle here, so that one there. So we've got 1.7, so we can change this to 1.7 just to match it all up. But I would say they're probably going to be similar parts. So once we've got that front face, we've got to create the wheel depth. So I'm just going to extrude inwards, maybe 0.5 mm or so. Create a new body. I'm going to draw a sketch on the back surface of that. It'll be a little bit bigger just to create the flange way. So 1.7, so let's go 2 mm on that. Select the outside and the inside and just extrude that maybe 0.3 mm. Okay, so looking at the picture, we've obviously got what I would imagine is the bearing in the middle here. So we'll create on the front surface just a small circle, maybe 0.6 mm, and then just extrude that probably 0.15 or so, just to give it a little bit of relief there. So next I think I'm going to copy this across and then we'll look at adding support structures behind it then. So if we drop that down, drop the bodies down, select and move copy and create a copy. Now unfortunately we can look at the top on the canvases, but it's not, they are there, but they seem to be offset to the side for some reason rather than being centered. And you're looking at the pictures here, that one there, you can see how that middle is pretty much in line with the fan, which is roughly where we've got it here. So I don't know if the sketch canvas work is wrong there or not, but I'm going to go with this position here. So yeah, we've got create copy. I'm just going to drag it over. Probably maybe 5.5 mm. I'll go with that. At the moment, it's probably sitting a little bit high, thinking about it. We can see if we can move those two down. If we look at the height position, it's difficult to tell really for these photos. So height-wise, that looks like it's sitting in line with the axles, which we can see, yeah, that's probably in the right place actually. That's roughly in line with the axle there. Okay, so we've got the two wheels. Let's turn that canvas off. And look, if we look here, you can see we've got what looks, I would imagine, like a rectangle behind here, which the axle sits on, and you've got two diagonal support beams. And I imagine looking at that, they connect to this, maybe. Yeah, they maybe look like they're connecting to that. So we can start by just drawing this rectangular piece that goes across the back. See how it doesn't go all the way in to the, sorry, it doesn't come all the way to the outside, so it doesn't stick out either end. So we come into Fusion, we'll spin this round, so we're looking at the back of these wheels. Create a sketch, it doesn't matter which one you select. Okay, and I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm just going to drag it across like this. We can dimension that from there. Side to the midpoint of the wheel, we'll go 0.6 millimeters. If we do the same on the other side, we might have to project that circle, and then we can dimension off of that. 0.6. Height from the circle downwards. See if we get to rotate in the right place. There we go. If we go 0.5, we can then dimension the height of these as 1 millimeter, and then it's pretty much centered there on those wheels. And then if we select the three profiles here and extrude inwards, I'm going to go for about a millimeter, and I'm going to let it join so all these become one body now. So this shot gives us a real good view of this arm that comes up over the top here. Again, as I say, we're just going to try and draw something that represents this. So it sort of goes across the unit, curves around, goes flat with this piece that comes across, out, diagonally up, and then across the top. So let's turn off all of this lot so that we don't have to look at that. We rotate this round. Actually, yeah, we'll rotate it round. We'll create an offset plane from that inside face of that rear unit, and let's try and work out how far across we want. So it's this. Okay, so let's put it. I'm thinking about there. 2.2 millimeters in. We can probably do this upright, maybe 0.3, 0.4 thick, and then we'll have another one coming up this side here. Okay, so yeah, 2.2 across, and we create a sketch on that surface. We're going to project in the whole of this box here, so we can draw around it. Okay, click on that. Okay, I'm going to slice. The wheel not disappearing. The wheel not a separate part. Why is that not slicing? Ah, it's because it's the upper wheel, that's what we're looking at. Of course. Okay, so let's think about the sketch. Let's get this one here. So, coming out of the bottom level, so I'm going to draw, start off, I'm going to draw a line up there. I'm going to draw a line that comes out, does it come out beyond the wheel? No, it doesn't. It probably comes to the front face. So I'm going to draw to that position there. Let's define that length. We'll go 0.7. Okay. This, I'm going to draw it up and over. So it's going to be up high, so I'm going to put it in sort of this position up here. Does that work right? Because it's going to have these diagonals come up that meet it. So let's draw a line, let's diagonal that up. We'll come across the unit like that. And this curve looks like it goes to where the back of this is. So if we create another line that comes up there, we're just going to use this as like a construction line there. And we're going to create an arc. Tangent arc. I'm going to go from that point to that point there. And I'm going to trim off that edge. We've got the curved up and over unit. This looks like it's maybe 6 inches or so thick. So if we now draw a line, if we come up 6 inches, it's going to be 1 millimeter in engage. And then we draw a line, just come across like that. I'm going to draw a diagonal line that comes up and meets it. And then we're going to have to curve the top off there. So we can fillet between that line and that line. Go maybe 0.4 on there. Let's define that angle between the. Ooh, no. Undo that. Define the angle there. So that measurement's fine. I didn't want to do that, but it's done it. Okay, so we'll go for 100 degrees on that angle, and then that should define pretty much this bit here. Got to define there. So let's go for 5 millimeters, just so it's defined. We will this. I'm going to do this all the way across to help make this the mirrored part over. So I will have to. We get the midpoint. That one. I'll delete that. And I can constrain that corner potentially to the midpoint. Maybe not. Maybe horizontal, vertical to the midpoint. Nope. I'll fix that in a bit. I'll come back to that. So let's extrude that. Let's go the other way. And I want that to be minus 0.4, I think. So we can get away with having that thinner piece here because it's supported. We're going to have all the other stuff behind it to give it extra strength. Okay, happy with that. What I want now is, let's spin this round. I'm going to draw the diagonal piece which comes upwards on the back. So this piece here, and we're going to draw that, and it's going to meet up. Actually, it doesn't actually look like it touches, but I'm going to get it to touch for extra strength. So I'm going to draw a sketch on this back surface of the machine part here. I'm going to draw a line, and we'll go up to that line there. So I get it to be coincidence to that corner. Okay, you can see where I'm going with that, and then define distance there for 0.9 millimeters. And then I'm going to bring that line across, coincidence in that to to that corner, and then down to the bottom rail there. That's closed that off. We've got that triangular piece there. I'm going to extrude that, level the front surface of the unit, tell it to join. I think I actually wanted this corner curved. Let's just go back in the history to that point. Edit the sketch. It was curved. What's caused it is me extruding back into it. I'm going to leave it as is because I want the extra support in here, so this is all protected. Okay, let's look face on now. So that's this piece coming up that we've just drawn. So now I'm going to draw that one going in there. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to split this in half. Let's create a midpoint. So you want a mid-plane between the end of the back piece there and that back piece there. And then I'm going to split the body using that mid-plane. And I'm going to remove body one, keeping this part. And whatever I do here, I can just mirror across. Turn that construction plane off. Okay, so the next piece, as I say, is that coming down here to this circular piece. And that's got some dampers that come out over the top. So I think I'll draw that arm first. No, I'm going to draw the circular piece first, I think. And we can get everything to match into it. Okay, so for that I need to draw on the bottom surface here, because, is that right? No, I don't. Undo that. I need to create an offset plane from that bottom surface. I need to come up slightly. So what I'm looking at there is the top of this unit is going to be above, slightly above the top of the actual point here on the wheel. So about that sort of position. 0.8 from that top. And I'm going to create a sketch on there. And get a circle. Actually, project. Project that point there. And we create a circle from in line with that. Let's go for 1 millimeter in diameter. And define a distance from that point. 0.4. Okay. Now we're going to extrude this downwards. So make sure we select all of the. Let's got that part there. Select all that profile. Extrude this. We're going to come down to. So the bottom of it looks like it's in line with the bottom of the wheel there. Before we got this extra part on. We're going to come down to like there. So 1.1 millimeter. Tell it to join. Okay, so the next thing, now we've got that position, next thing to draw is this part coming in the middle here. So I'm going to create a sketch on the inside profile of that. Okay, so I'm going to project the top rim of the circular part we've just drawn there. And I'll draw a line starting above it, but sort of roughly where it is in line. You can see how that comes and curves down. So I'm just going to be slightly to the right, but slightly above it. I'm going to go diagonally up. I'm going to snap it into that top part there. Weird little line there. Snap into the top. Let's define the angle there. If that's sorted, I'll go for 25 degrees. And then I'm going to do a spline point, I think. I'm going to go from there. I'm going to just use 2 spline points, click on OK. I'm going to come to this bottom one here, select the little green line, and I'm going to tell it to be horizontal, vertical, so that's snap upwards and straight. And then I'm going to tell that one to be tangent to this line, hopefully. So select the little green part, tangent to that line. It won't do it. It's fine, so it'll come down, and we'll just play, and we'll get the there. So snap that end to this line here. You didn't need all these green things. This is an update they've done. I don't know why they've done that. I'm sure there's a reason, but okay, we come out of there. We can see how we've got a curved part there. Well, if we grab that, we can just drag that out slightly. And it'll just help to curve that round. So just making this long, see how you adjust it by just dragging. I want it to come up slightly and curve around to it. Yeah, happy with that. Okay, so now we need to turn the rest of it into a profile. So what's going on at the back? So we can't really see what goes on because it's hidden behind the damper. So we can go with that profile quite happily and just extrude that across. See how it's now coming into touching there. Probably what I'm going to do actually is make this circle a bit wider. So pull that across 0.3, tell it to join. Let's go back into that circle now. Edit that sketch. You can probably make that 1.5. That's too big. 1.4. Okay, and then I'm going to just grab this bottom surface in here and extrude it down to the bottom of this part. Put join. Again, it's just adding a little bit of strength in there. You can't really tell what's going on with that. Not sure why it hasn't. That's fine. Okay, so that's looking okay with that. That should have gone all the way up. So I probably missed part of the, what I need to do now then, because all that's done is this part, is draw a line from there, in line with that one, and up to that one. And then edit the feature on that, selecting those two profiles. So we're now adding that all the way across to the back here. So it's all looking at supports, giving the shapes that we're trying to recreate. Okay, so we've got nothing on the top of here, but behind it there's a damper, and that looks like it's sitting on top of this cross member, and it's going to be in line with the middle here. So what we can do is, if we spin it round, if we draw a sketch on the inside surface there, and draw a line, find the midpoint, how far up does that damper go? So that goes up all the way into the body. I'm actually going to go, let's turn the chassis on. I don't want to go any higher than the chassis, because it's fine to go up to the chassis because it's going to attach there anyhow. Let's draw it up like that. Tell that to coincidence to the top line, that'll stretch that out. Now we've got that line, we can use the pipe tool. Circle wise, I'm going to go for maybe 0.5 for the bottom. turn the chassis off because I don't want to join that. Tell that to join. That's fine. And then we need that sketch back again. That's number 9. And we'll do pipe again. Draw on that line. Actually need to go start from the top. That's a pain. Why won't it go from the top? Okay, so I think what's happened is because I draw it from the bottom to the top, it's trying to go up the pipe. So what we're going to do is go back in this pipe, edit that feature. We're going to change that to 0.8, and then we're going to create a pipe again using the same feature. This time I'm going to tell it to cut. No, that's not going to work either. Okay, so that's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is create a sketch on the bottom surface of that circle. Use a circle, get the midpoint. So we know that's 0.8. So if I go 0.5, which is what I wanted in the first place, I can select those two profiles. Why is that not a profile there? Okay, 0.8 circle. Select the profiles there, and then extrude that upwards, and that will cut that off. Okay, so the damper looks like it's in level, the middle of it looks like it's in level with the top of this arm, so we can drag that up to there like that. That's 1.9 up, click on OK. So the two parts of the damper. Don't worry about obviously having half C. What you could do if you wanted to is split those off at the moment, but I'm going to leave them there while we continue to draw the rest of the bits together. Okay, so if we now get this smaller wheel drawn on the side here, what that probably requires is this to have an extra piece coming out of smaller and then bigger again. So I'm going to create a sketch on that bottom surface. Actually, no, I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to extrude that down slightly. So I come down maybe 0.2, tell that to join, and then I'm going to chamfer off the bottom edge, 0.2. That's what I'm after. And then I'm going to extrude that down. Maybe 0.3, and then it's going to have a sketch on the bottom surface for the actual wheel here. I'm going to do the extra wheel, say 1.8. It's gone 1 for some reason. 1.8, and then select that profile and extrude that. How does that look? I think that needs to probably be a bit higher actually. So what we can do about that, join to start. Okay, I'm probably going to have to shorten this bit. Let's have a look at this feature. Let's bring that up a little bit. I'm going to come up to 0.9 on that. That moves all that up. Maybe make that little bit in there a bit smaller. Let's go to 0.1. It's still going to have a similar. That's probably better because that's in line with the wheel, and this I think is supposed to run on the edge of the wheel. edge of the rail. So having that in that position probably would sit better. Probably supposed to sit further out as well. Wait a minute, look, see it twists. This is what these arms are probably here to do. Okay, so it doesn't really matter at the moment then that it's sitting in, because we can work it. This whole thing's going to pivot out of the way. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with that as it is. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this rod coming across there. I think that would be on this one. Don't want to do that yet. Put it on that surface. Let's find the center point of that curve there. Coincide it, so 0.6 millimeters. I'm going to extrude this. And again, I'm going to make sure it just goes way past that midpoint. I'm going to get rid of all these bits when I chop that down. So I'm not too worried about the length of that going all the way over there for the moment. Okay, now I need to draw this triangle piece. Let's have a look on that one. So you can see it's sort of, it's not even a triangle piece, it's an odd shaped bit. It's going to be on the outside of that circle. So we can use that circle to create this part going on the outside. Come back into the sketch, I'm going to edit this, I'm going to extrude that. Let's come out 0.6, cut, join, and create a sketch on that top face. Okay, let's do, it needs to be slightly bigger, so we're going to go 0.8 diameter circle there. Not that I want a circle, but it's going to create the arc to come round the outside, and then I want to come down straight line at an angle. I'm just going to come across like that, and I know that's going to cut through this piece at the moment. You'll see what I'll do is if I now click OK, come back up to tangent that line to the circle, that'll come off there at the right point. Find the length of that. There. Try again. Find the length of that. I'm going to go for maybe 0.8 millimeters in length. Maybe long enough, yeah. Because then I'm going to curve round down slightly. So another circular part for there. Arc. Oops. Tangent arc from there to there. I want a line. Draw it like that. I'm going to put the line parallel, so that line's got to be parallel to there. Undo that. I want the line to be otherwise it's parallel from that one to that one, so they're matching that direction. And the distance between them, I'm going to go for 0.6 millimeters. And then tangent arc from there down to there. point it down slightly. That and tangent to the circle. Something like that. And then I want another arc to go the other way. So you see I'm using 3-point arc here, coming up here. That to probably come up a bit more and then draw a line from there to there. Right, let's fix that point so that can't move. And then if we curve this corner off, 1.45 that'll do. It's not perfect, but it's getting to look okay. Is that not joined for some reason? It has. Let's see what's going on there. Trim that little bit off the end there. I'm going to create that shape. 0.5. See, it's going to have a little bit sticking out there. We need to grab that profile there as well. Tell that to join. Grab that inner profile, that circle. I'm just going to extrude that extra 0.7 so it does actually have that little piece sticking out on the top here. Okay, so now I'm going to move down here and create this coming across here. To do that, I'm going to have to split this again because I'm on a halfway point here. So let's split the body, select that one, splitting tool. Let's find that mid plane, which is number 3 there. Split that, we're going to end up with a load of bodies here. So let's work out which ones we don't need. So that body there, so we can remove number 3. That body there, so that's number 4, we can remove that. And that part there, that's number 5, so we can remove that. We're just left with the half here. Good. Let's turn the construction plane off. Okay, so as I say, we're drawing this, so I'm just going to draw a little circle, rod or something type shaped, and it's going to be sitting sort of in this position. Create on the inside surface where we just cut. Let's create a circle. I'm going to snap the midpoint to that line. I'm going to go for maybe a 0.4mm circle. Define its distance from the midpoint to that bottom part. Define find these 2 points here. Let's go 0.2 just for ease. Okay, and then we can select that outside profile. Yes, we want the inside profile as well, so we need the whole circle selected. Okay, and you can see on the picture that's going to come across pretty much in line with where that midpoint of this part that we've just drawn is. So we need to go all the way beyond. Yeah, probably because it's going to have a piece coming out of it. So go 1.8 across, tell it to join. Actually thinking this might come up a little bit in a bit. Okay, now we need, I'm not going to try and overcomplicate this too much. There's a pipe coming up that's going to go into it. It's got a rod coming through. So, let's draw a sketch off of that outside surface. I'm going to go for a 3-point rectangle. I'm going to use the 2 points of the arc here. I'm going to come down maybe 0.4, and I'm going to also do the same rectangle above it. So 3-point rectangle, go from those 2 points, come upwards maybe 0.4. Select these inner profiles here and extrude that outwards slightly. Doing 0.2. Tell it to join, and then want to mirror that feature. I'm going to use the mirror plane. If I do that, I'll just get halfway. I need a halfway point. So we'll have to construct a midplane between the two faces of that part, and then mirror the features of that rectangle across that midplane like that. Good, and then let's construct a rectangular part that's going to go from that corner. I'm going to constrain it to that corner there. So select those profiles and come down. Let's spin that back round so we know what we're looking at. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just creating the base. I want to come down. I come down 0.2, tell it to join. So it's creating like a U-shaped piece there. This part needs to be smaller. Let's just go back in the history. I'm going to shorten this up a little bit. That sketch. Edit that. Just going to select those parts here. I'm just going to drag that up slightly, and the same on this one. Drag that up slightly. Okay, jump to the end of the history. Let's just shorten the height there a little bit. I might just shorten those up a little bit as well. Edit that sketch. I'm just going to make these a little bit short, so we're going to come for 0.3 coming down. So that's obviously, you can see the curved part in there, just shorten that up, and I need to try and now get an arm to go between these two. So I'm going to create a sketch on inside of that face. do a circle, got the midpoint. I'm actually probably going to come back beyond the midpoint slightly, go 0.5, select the circle profile, and then extrude. Hopefully that'll intersect and then it will look okay. Let's join there. Turn that construction plane off so you can see, and that construction plane off. Okay, so yeah, it's really complicated what's going on here, and I'm just, as I say, I'm trying to wing it a little bit to try and make it look something like what we're working with. If we now mirror this body, that'll give you a really good idea of what we've got here. So body 6, mirror planes and the inside surface. Okay, so yeah, if we look at that, let's bring up this picture, minimize it so we can have the two of them sort of side by side. Now, what are we looking at? Are we looking at something that looks reasonably okay? And it's not perfect. This is probably a little bit too long here, which would mean these to be a little bit higher, but you know, this is not trying to be a perfect representation of what we've got here. This is trying to look like what it is. It's a complicated piece of machinery, and you know, stick that two of them. Stick the chassis. Let's get that in. Let's get the bogies on. Let's just create a copy of this body. Paste it and move it across. I'm going to delete this in a second, but we just do that. You can see how that, you know, it's starting to look like these bits. There's enough going on there that will catch the visual eye and make you think, oh, that's complicated. Okay, let's undo that. So it's back up to the one. I'm going to finish this episode here and come back and do some more work around this on the next episode, because I'm conscious this is getting quite a long one and it is complicated. I'm not going to say it's going to be difficult to try and copy it. Just try and do your best and try and end up with something that looks sort of what we've got here. Okay. If you've got any questions, you've got concerns about this, and you know, find me a message over in the comment section, or you can catch me on Facebook, and I can try and help you try and get something that looks like this in your own model. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching that. If you have, I'd say please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.